Hello and welcome to Videobrief, an exclusive video interaction by MediaBrief.com. Today we have with us Geetanjali Sachwani, the VP and Head of Marketing at Franklin Templeton, India, to discuss their Change the Soch campaign addressing the critical issue of gender disparity and financial credibility. Welcome to Videobrief, Geetanjali. It's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Safa, for having me. It's absolutely a pleasure from my side as well.
Thank you. And today we're here to discuss a very important issue of gender disparity in, financial accreditation and stuff like that. So, Franklin Templeton released a lovely campaign video, and I love the satire in it. I watched both the videos. But before we go ahead with the questions, can we have the video, please?
मोनिशा मोनिशा म्यूचुअल फंड में कंपाउंडिंग क्या होता है?
इंटरेस्ट का जो इंटरेस्ट मिलता है उसे कंपाउंडिंग कहते हैं. इट्स लाइक व्हेन द एक्स्ट्रा मनी यू वुड हैव अर्नड आल्सो पोटेंशियली स्टार्ट्स टू मेक मनी फॉर यू.
समझ में नहीं आया.
इंटरेस्ट का जो इंटरेस्ट मिलता है उसे कंपाउंडिंग कहते हैं. इट्स लाइक व्हेन द एक्स्ट्रा मनी वुड हैव अर्नड आल्सो पोटेंशियली स्टार्ट्स टू मेक मनी फॉर यू.
स्मार्ट यार, so smart. You're so smart. Smart.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
So, amazing campaign, as I said. And let's start with the questions and get some insights for our viewers. So, can you share a little bit about how you came to the Change the Soch campaign and, what led to its creation and how is it empowering women?
Sure. Thank you, Safa. Just for even saying that you resonated with the campaign makes a lot of difference to our campaign. So, Franklin Templeton's Change the Soch campaign is a bold step, I would say, towards dismantling gender biases in finance and in life as well, actually. So by educating, empowering, and amplifying women's voices, the campaign, I believe, is not just promoting financial inclusivity, but it also is helping me reshape the societal perceptions of women's roles in our lives, in wealth creation, in investment management. So it's allowing me to break stereotypes because
Right.
it's confronting very boldly the stereotypes that portray women as less capable or knowledgeable about financial matters, about domestic matters as well sometimes.
Yeah.
And therefore, in a way, it is helping me raise awareness. Generally, I'm quite sure about India. I cannot really comment on other countries, but historically and culturally, we have built many biases in our society and which kind of question women's financial independence and confidence. So I think it's helping me, third, promote the equal opportunity. Generally, men are supposed to be the default financial heads of the households. Uh,
True.
and we keep saying women are better savers, and nobody else knows it better than them. But do we really give them the opportunity to even influence a financial decision, forget being the decision maker? So,
Yes.
in a sense, it leads me to my fourth point about making sure that we are all including women into the financial ecosystem. It's not just necessary to as an investor, but even as a distributor partner, as a decision maker. Are we making that conscious effort to break
Yeah.
those cultural biases? And of course, I think the broader agenda it is to instill a long-term cultural change, and that ain't happening with a campaign film or two. It's going to be happening with all of us using voice as a medium
Right.
to make this shift in the mindset and foster a more inclusive financial narrative.
Absolutely. And just going off of what you said, so beyond the campaign, how are you ensuring that women are more included in financial decisions? What sort of initiatives or any programs that you have?
Sure. Of course, Franklin Templeton recognizes this gap, and this campaign does require a multifaceted approach because it's just going beyond the awareness that, the
Yeah.
campaign wants to drive. And as I said earlier, the last point, which is to foster an inclusive financial ecosystem where not just our voice, but our expertise and credibility is recognized and valued. So I think
Yeah.
Franklin Templeton's doing various initiatives, in this endeavor. We run education and financial literacy programs only for women to, enhance their understanding of investments. We're trying to simplify financial concepts to
Okay.
empower women from diverse backgrounds, right? Like you and me, we have access to information very easily, but people from diverse backgrounds may not necessarily have confidence in taking control of their financial future. So making sure that we simplify those complex
Right.
financial concepts for them. We're also collaborating with various NGOs and women-focused organizations to expand, the financial education in underrepresented communities. Um,
Right.
Constantly, it's not just been with this campaign, but overall, if you had to check our YouTube handle, you will realize that, we've developed and shared very accessible online content for more than a decade now, with videos, blogs, and a lot more information which can help educate women on, personal finance and investment. That's a little more on what we do for the outside world, but I think having worked with Franklin Templeton now for more than 7 years, Franklin Templeton does create a platform for sharing women's voices
Okay.
and showcasing women leaders and very very boldly, so supporting different forums internally, running panel discussions and events where women can share experiences with each other, uh,
Amazing.
uh, and share what stops them from moving ahead in this area. I think we're also, very inclusive in our recruitment and leadership development internally. So, hiring practices that promote gender diversity, providing mentorship and leadership programs to help women advance their careers in Franklin Templeton. I think I've seen that uh, uh, being very aggressively driven by our president, by our HR, and by separate groups that are formed for this purpose. Also, the workplace policies. I think the organization's been very sensitive to the fact that they need to make the place a little more flexible in terms of the working hours, making the place family friendly, and just ensuring that women can balance their personal and professional responsibilities without compromising their
Right.
career path. So, that's we just don't talk about these things. We walk the talk. The organization is run, globally by Jenny Johnson. A woman is at the helm of many things, and I think our president in India is also very, very conscious and prone to making sure that the policies in India are women friendly and not just employee friendly. In terms of building a supportive ecosystem, right? I think it's not just about building women communities, it's also engaging men as allies. So,
Right.
encouraging men to challenge biases and support our participation, and therefore just kind of fostering a holistic approach to inclusivity.
That's amazing. And you actually even answered my next question about how Franklin Templeton is addressing this issue within the organization itself. So you have some great initiatives, clearly. And, coming back to the Change the Soch campaign, now we all know that advertising is a very effective and powerful tool, and so is media for changing the thinking, the mindset of people across India. So, can you just tell me a little about how important you feel like advertising is in addressing such social issues? And what exactly were the key elements in Change the Soch campaign that you felt were like, okay, these are going to really help change the Soch truly?
Right. Um, so, of course, I am in the marketing profession, so maybe it's a biased view, but I think advertising is a very powerful tool for reshaping societal norms and challenging the deep rooted biases. Okay.
Yes.
I think it has the ability to influence opinions, spark conversations, and reach a broad audience, making it particularly
Absolutely. Yes.
significant in driving a social change. So I think this campaign, the key elements I think that, we believed in was that, we have an insight about, using voice to bring about a change in the Soch. And how do you blend awareness with an actionable insight? So we
Right.
don't just stop at highlighting the biases, but we are also providing a lot of educational content to empower women and families, right? So the call
Right.
to action is that you certainly need to, understand the space and make sure that, any questions and any doubts you have in mind on what does it take to be financially independent, and, the how is also addressed and not just the why and the what. So I think the fact that we're able to integrate the educational content along with the awareness, I think it's a strategy that we cannot just say it and then leave it at that, right? Like a hot
Yes.
potato. So I think we're bridging that gap. We're helping bridge that gap. I think the second aspect, which I think is ingrained in Franklin Templeton's marketing and advertising campaigns, all of them, most of them, okay, we believe in storytelling. And I think that really resonates because we kind of take up the real life scenarios.
Yes.
So even the two campaigns, the two films that you've just seen and you resonated with, they use
Yes.
relatable narratives, right? It's an environment in an office where two colleagues
Yes.
are talking to each other across their workstations. You have a very relaxed Saturday, Sunday atmosphere at home with the son just taking it easy and, asking a question, looking at his dad, but he gets the answer from his mom, who's
Yes.
actually in a night dress cutting onions for their lunch. And it's a very relatable scenario that we've created. And so I think giving like a real life story, situations that you and I have been through and experienced, I think they kind of drive an empathy. And therefore we're trying to, with the campaign, evoke empathy and, I would use the word introspection, because it's encouraging the viewers to question their own perceptions and attitude towards women in finance.
Right. Yes.
Right, the expressions that the colleague across the counter says, saying kya samajh mein nahi aaya, or even the son just looking back with like a huge surprise saying, how did the mother respond to this question,
Yes.
right? So that brings me to my third point, which is actually breaking stereotypes through these representations. So so I think that piece itself, and our tagline, our hashtag change the Soch, is concise. It's concise, memorable, and it's like change the Soch, right? It's a verb. It calls for action. So it
Yes.
conveys the campaign's core message, which is transforming mindsets, which is very, very important to us. And I think using a multi-channel approach for maximum reach. So
Yes.
connected TV, YouTube, social media platforms, because we want to connect this with our Gen Z and millennials who are active online. Uh,
Yes.
and reach different generations. So this message is not just for women. The message is for society, and the message is
Absolutely.
hashtag not just for March 8th. Okay, it was a very conscious decision not to launch this campaign on March 8th, because I think a lot of brands and organizations come out on March 8th, and
Yes.
March 9th then is again, a bland and a dry day. So we wanted to try and, communicate that this campaign is hashtag not just for March 8th, and it's an all season, always on 365 days,
Yes.
12-month long campaign, a lifelong campaign. An advertisement, when you design it thoughtfully, can serve as a catalyst for societal transformation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, like you said, social media was really, important for connecting with the Gen Z audiences. So, what was your marketing split like for this?
Sure. So, I think it was important to reach out to, society in large, and specifically, the campaign has not been targeted only to women. It's an
Yeah.
all encompassing target audience. Yes, the
Right.
focus is on, the Gen Z, the millennials, and the influencers in the market who can actually help us drive this change.
Yeah.
We've primarily taken connected TV and YouTube uh,
Okay.
because of the length of the film. We've also used social media, but a majority of our budget is on connected TV and YouTube. We're early cord cutters, and I think the platforms work very well for us, even in our previous campaigns.
Yeah.
Already, I mean, it's less than a month and a half, and we've already garnered more than 65 million impressions. And
Okay.
actually, it's not just the impressions that, make me raise an eyebrow,
Yeah.
but the fact that we've got almost 25 million completed views.
Oh, amazing.
And, given that this is BFSI, this is mutual funds, and
Right.
it's longer than your usual 15-second or 20-seconder, for us to get 23 million completed views already is a
Yeah.
very big win. So that does tell me that our media mix is on track.
Okay. And how do you plan to measure the success of the Change the Soch campaign in the real world? Of course, I know that's a huge task, but in the real world, how will you see whether it's truly fostering inclusivity?
Sure. So, it is, uh, a very good question, and just makes me think on it time and again with every campaign getting launched, right? How do I measure the success? So, of
Yeah.
course, you have your matrices, right? The audience reach and engagement. I just shared the numbers with you. But how do you go beyond that? And I would say
Yeah.
it's also gauging the stickiness of the campaign, right? It's not just the number of views, but also how many actually actually stick till the end of the film. So
Right.
currently we have 55% of our viewers watching the complete film on YouTube, and nearly 94% completion on CTV, which is a very big deal for us.
Yeah.
It's not like, you got your impression, but, somebody said skip or close the window. So
Yeah.
it encourages me on that front. And I think that is one of the important matrices, our team is assessed on. Also, the social media sentiment analysis, right? So you use public sentiment on and feedback on the campaigns, in terms of the organic conversations that it sparked. Also, the media coverage and the publicity. You guys have come approaching us about it. There have been different organizations and different publications who approached us independently about the campaign
Right.
and the visibility and the reach. So of course, those are matrices which every marketer would be driving. But we're also wanting to see, the impact post releasing of the campaign. So does it really bring about a change in the attitude and the perception? Do we
Yeah.
increased participation by women, as investors, as distributor partners, or not just making the decision, but even as participants? So when we run our investor awareness programs, do we have more women attending it? Do we have more the men letting their wives and their daughters or their sisters accompany them in these sessions that they attend themselves?
Right.
Also, gather qualitative insights from our distributor partners in terms of what are they thinking, and um, uh, you know uh, acting upon the campaign. Also, I think many institutes and colleges have approached us for doing like a case study
Yeah.
on our campaign, right? In terms of, because we're trying to bring about a change in the mindset, and
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
very often that you see a film that is bold enough to call out and say it like it is. So
Yeah.
I think from that perspective, I think these are some of our matrices basis which we will see, and it's not just about, as I said, talking about it when the campaign's about when
Yeah.
it's released. It's a sustained conversations. It's evaluating the continuation of the discussions that can happen around gender inclusivity in finance.
Right, absolutely. And so this was my list of questions, but if there's anything that you would like to add or highlight, please feel free to go ahead.
Sure, just use your voice to bring about the change in Soch.
Yes. Okay, great. So thank you so much, Geetanjali. Thank you for joining us and sharing these very valuable insights with all of our viewers. And I hope that they all change the search. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Safa. Thank you for having me.
So that's about it from this episode and from Gitanjali. A lovely and insightful discussion about gender disparity in financial investments and the Change the Soch campaign. I hope you enjoyed this session and also took away something from it. This is your host and friend Safa Samar signing off.